No worries, hitting a button.
Okie doke.
I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
No William tonight.
No, his youngest appears to be feeling ill. And,
Right.
I hope she's doing all right.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. My kid's been sick for the last like 3-4 days. She's got the same crap that I had. So,
Well, like I said, it's I used to get that summer cold every year. I don't now. So.
Yeah. I'm usually booked for one in like November. So, I don't think I got one this last November, no. I was still recovering from the unnamed virus of unknown origin.
Yeah.
So,
I'm familiar with that one's work.
Right,
yeah.
right,
And
yeah.
given that we all had it, we all. That's sort of like the story of our generation now. You get to tell everybody about, what it was like during that, COVID.
well, no, it's more fun asking people about, oh, you remember pre-COVID,
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember. It's sort of like pre 9/11, like,
Right, nobody even talks about that anymore, man. So, back in the days of Bill Clinton and the New World Order and, the peace dividend. Remember all that shit?
Peace dividend.
Yeah,
What
remember all
was
that
the
shit?
peace dividend?
Well, that was where we didn't have to spend so much money on the military and Billy Bob closed all those bases and shit. So...
Oh,
Yeah, you remember all that.
right.
Yeah.
And it turns out that yeah, a lot of the basically like the surplus, the extra money that we had came from basically the birth of the internet age.
Right, back when it was in its pilgrim day rather than its cowboy day.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Where there's this look at it to say that this was something that happened because of Clinton's policies, and I certainly can't attest to that. It just sounds like more like
I
business was
don't
taking
think
off
so.
at
Yeah, it
times.
was just
Yeah.
it was a neat thing to invest in, and so a lot of I did.
Yeah.
I invested in Intel in like 1994, man. So back
Oh
then,
boy.
yeah, I know. I made a lot of money off that. I paid for a lot of my college. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I imagine. Yeah.
I was, I didn't know this at the time, but I wasn't actually allowed to have a brokerage account. I was under the age of 18. But there's a guy at Northwest whose wife was a broker.
Oh.
And she got me an account. So,
Well, okay. So were you just basically doing business through her?
yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't pre-tax or anything like that. So I guess they wouldn't have to really verify that much back then, but it was kind of like, oh, you got a work permit? I was like, yeah, sure. But it was only years later that I found out that no, actually, you're not supposed to have an investment account. So if your parents can still claim you, because technically, I was supposed to pay capital gains on all that shit. Yeah, so,
Right.
Um,
Listen, man, I know that you're not legally supposed to have a Columbia House account either, but
it did happen back in the 90s. Yeah. It actually wasn't that hard to get away with, too. So,
you just send in the card. So I don't know. This could have been. I don't know. I know that was paying for your college. My only question was it so significant that like the IRS would have come looking for you as a culprit?
no, because we got pinched by the IRS out there anyway. So, because of tips.
Yeah.
I think that was actually before I had that account, though.
Was it? Oh,
I
okay.
think, yeah, maybe. It's all kind of the same time, man. I don't remember. So, but no, then what I did was when I was going through college, if I couldn't cover my tuition in cash, I would just pull money out of that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and it was never that much, because especially when I was going to college, I didn't invest the money. I just put it in my drawer to pay for tuition later, And I just bring that sack of money every. I know. I used to bring him a fucking brown paper bag full of $1 bills, man. So, it was bundled in stacks of 100 with 25, so 4 rubber bands and that big one around it. So that's 100, and so it'd be like 100, 200. I mean, this is back when tuition was like 800 fucking bucks, for a full load.
Right.
So yeah.
What would be I haven't even looked. What would be the going rate right now at that same university?
At that university, I'm guessing probably I'm going to guess about $300 to $400 a credit hour. So if you do 12, that's probably like $4 or $5 grand a semester. It's not as bad as people think it is. So, like people get bent out of shape and they're like, oh, I want to live on campus. It's like, okay, well that just tripled it.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And then it's like, well, I don't want to have to work while I'm doing it. Okay, so you're gonna take out more than you're allowed, so you can quote unquote live off your loans. So
Yeah.
and then books used to be expensive, but like even dude, I haven't used a hardback textbook in like 5 fucking years. So
Right.
yeah, all my shit's open access now, man. So because they update it and it doesn't change, I don't have to fuck with the bookstore about getting the right shit in there and stuff. It's completely different. So but yeah, I don't think it would probably cost you more than probably more than like 5 or 6 grand a semester, all told. Maybe another 1,000 with the fees that they tack on and bullshit.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah. So but I mean, shit. When I was even in a graduate program, I was down to the point in time where I was paying like $1,000 a semester. So because my shit was all subsidized. So
Oh yeah.
well, I was only taking 1 credit hour at a time. So it was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, you know what? And on top of that, yeah, that's a good point, because if any of these students were in some kind of financial straits, I know they qualify for like a Pell Grant, stuff like that.
Oh
too.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, my students. Oh fuck, they get.
yeah.
Our school showers them with financial aid.
Yeah.
So especially the athletes, man. So we've got so much money for our athletes that, that's why at my school we've got fucking 20 goddamn teams. So and some of them are actually good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
So, but it's one of those things where it's just like they work their asses off, so they earn that money. But the school will hook you up. Same thing with my international students. I got partnerships with schools in Germany and England and France and stuff, and they, so we get to tap into their state benefits a little bit, and they get to do a year over here, and so we take care of kind of the rest. So it's like, all right, well, you got room and board for the entire semester, you're good. If you want to live off campus, that's on you. Kind of thing. If you don't want to eat in a chow hall, you want to go, over to the Chick-fil-A, which everybody does, because they don't have those in Germany. So, and as soon as they do, was ist das? So like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
I mean, that's part of the experience. Yeah, I can imagine that there would probably be, if I were to flip it around, I imagine there'd be some like German place that I'd be eating at 4 times a week.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I don't know. That's even if they do chain restaurants over there like they do here, man.
Well, it is to say chain. I'm sure that I would find. Well, this is me. I would find something,
yeah.
right? It's the first gas station I went to. It's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been to a Buckees before. Buckees in Germany.
Das
Buckees.
Yeah.
There you go. Episode title. So.
Yeah, I'm sure I'd find something. I'm sure that I'm not one of those people that goes to another place and it's like, oh, I wonder what McDonald's is like in Georgia.
Oh yeah, no,
whatever.
No, if you go down south, man, there's too many other places to try. So I mean, that's the home of the church's chicken. So and you can get Crystals down there, which is basically like southern fucking White Castles. So yeah, yeah, I mean, I think like the worst thing would be you go to Texas and go to like a Taco Bell,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So, no, I actually think the worst thing would be to go to
the Texas Roadhouse.
No. I was gonna say Applebee's. Like that's my.
I saw a whole story on this the other day. Applebee's is making a fucking comeback.
On what?
Dude, apparently there's like this TikTok fucking trend on Applebee's where like they got these kids who go to Applebee's and it's just their whole sales like profile is bouncing. It's fucking insane. Just when we got close, just when COVID was about to finish that fucker off, fucking TikTok to the rescue. I was sitting there reading this and I was feeling crestfallen. I was like, oh my God, we almost got one. So, but why is this youngest generation on the TikTok saving this shithole restaurant?
That's what I'm. That is to me that is the very definition of soulless food.
Oh yeah,
Applebee's, Chili's,
TGI Fridays is the worst. So.
TGI Fridays is the worst, and well to me personally, I think the worst soulless industry for that kind of food is on the border. And I'm not picking on
I
that.
gotcha. Yeah, you never mind. You upped mine.
No,
So,
no, and you have to understand the whole reason that I'm picking on it is because the whole concept is based around this quote unquote like Tex-Mex flair. This
sure.
it's presenting itself as an ethnic.
They don't even do it right though, man.
I know,
So yeah.
I know.
I mean, you can go to any family Tex-Mex joint, any family-run Mexican restaurant. Will beat the shit out of On the Border. So, or Three Margaritas is in the same category.
Yes.
I had a tamale there so bad once I had to throw it out. Man. So, I'm not as like adverse to the gag reflex, the induction machine as you are, but there was never a time in my life where I was like, "Oh, this is happening. This is so bad," So,
Oh, that's rough.
I just want it out.
And you don't even have like the benefit of being like a cat or a dog with that reflex where you can hear like you have like 6 chugs and you're like, oh, you have to get outside because like if you go to like On the Border and I'm sitting with you, I don't get the benefit of like
no, you'll get me putting the napkin on the table and saying, I'll be right back. I'm going to the parking lot. So you got tonight, man, I'll get you next time because I'm not coming back in through those doors. So
yeah, you get 6 or 7 of those and hopefully you can get the dog or cat outside before that happens.
Right. Well, mine is just to get the cat on the kitchen floor. So rather than get her
Fine.
off the carpet.
Yeah, totally understand. Yeah.
That I could Swift her up, no problem, man. And so it's when it's on the carpet, especially when I was feeding my cat the wet food. This is a disgusting podcast topic, but dude, there is a streak of fucking light tan in my normally taupe carpet at home that will never come out because it basically came out as motor oil. So,
Oh my God.
I know, dude. I was like, what the fuck did you eat? What's wrong with you?
Like, I saw what went into you.
I know. I thought I
How'd
did
you
too.
turn it into this?
I know. So
Yeah.
and she had been eating it just fine for like 4 or 5 days. They're like, okay, so you solved some of those stomach issues. Here we go. And then just one day it was like, oh no, I've been hanging on to it for 4 or 5 days. So it's just building it up. And then here you go, Dad. And I was like, this is fucking horrifying. I mean, I had to scrape it off my carpet, man.
Did you just not catch it in time, or
I
what?
wasn't home. So yeah, I had just gotten home and I could see the cat like slinking out of my room. And I was like, what did you do? So because normally I get the, hey dad kind of greet. And then, with cats, they're just like dogs in that respect. I mean, if they do something that's fucked up, they'll either own it outright and just stare you down and say what the fuck you can do about it, or they'll do that thing where they sneak away, And neither one of those behaviors are like, normal.
Well, that's
It's just horrifying though, man.
no, and this is the thing I remember this was something that I had to talk to my brother about with his new dog. Oh, she's not really a new dog anymore, but
It's like a year now, right?
yeah, because I remember he was having some issues with indoor bathrooming.
Oh yeah.
And this was the tricky thing, because for him, the cool thing when he had like a little team of dogs going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing was a lot of that training came automatic because they would see what the biggest dog was doing. And they just emulated,
yeah.
right. And so with this newest one that was having trouble, I'm like, okay, this is the thing that seems counterproductive, but like, in order to get the dog to do this, because like I had my fights with this one, and it was never like oh you bad dog. No, it's like, all right, so you have to just like hang out and just hang out and hang out until she does her business outside, and then you have to start giving her like cookies. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like no. Until you get it right, it's just like every time that you do that, I gotta go ahead and give you these cookies or whatever.
Right. Whatever you got.
And if she does it in the house, you can't get upset with her. You just have to take that machine that I have and clean the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Right? So that she doesn't smell like, oh, this is great. Let's do this again. It's like,
yeah, I know. This is okay.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I'm putting fucking Windex in the carpet machine because it has a really distinct odor, right? To
It does.
them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it actually cleans the carpet really well. And you know, the other stuff that works is purple kaboom. But
I love Purple Kaboom.
yeah, it works. It works for
Yeah,
a lot of
it works
things.
great.
And yeah, so it's just that classic thing. It's like, oh, dog, you made a mistake in the house, right? A lot of people are like, look at this and this. And it's like, no, don't, because they're gonna take the wrong message of like, okay, so going to the bathroom is bad. It's like,
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
no. But it's way better for you if you do it out there,
Right.
right? Because you don't get cookies for doing it inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same thing like I've always felt about like vomit. I'm like, I'm not gonna get mad at you for vomiting.
No.
You're sick.
No, yeah, you're sick. So no, I was mad at the cat because she held it in so long. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But she's better now. We finally got her on a food that I don't think she's losing any weight yet. So, but
And is it supposed to be weight loss food?
no, but it's supposed to be like, like non-clump forming, kind of. Well, it's not supposed to be like food that is for cats that are still growing. Or yeah, it's supposed to be just
Okay.
maintenance kind of stuff, and then it's for like indigestion and stuff. But it's not cheap, but it's not horrendously expensive. But it seems like both of them can tolerate it, and that's kind of what was important. So as long as they'll both eat it, and they're not like the fat one's not pushing the skinny one out of the way to eat. So that was my next thing that I was concerned about because that used to happen. So, I was talking to one of my brother's buddies, and he's got two cats. He's like, "Yeah, you're always gonna have a normal cat and a fat one." So, yeah, he's just like, it's like I've had, yeah. He said he was on his third set now. So, and he's like, if you're not gonna feed them separately, that's what's gonna happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And
right.
he says if you're not home all the time, or if you just don't want them to be that pampered or whatever, because they don't really need it, in order to be happy. I just got one that's a little chunky, so and
I'm
as long as
curious-
she doesn't get
yeah.
fatter, so then I'm okay. So
Well, is that one kind of muscly too?
she's very muscly.
Yeah.
In fact, she's
Yeah.
really hard to handle when she's mad. So yeah, she is. She will, and she's got these little needle claws. She'll just rip your face off. So and then she's strong too. So, but it is a bitch to get her in our cat carrier. So, she knows what you're doing. So these are the most intelligent cats I've ever had. They're fucking smart. And so,
Well, I have to ask you: is there any other situation where they go in the cat carrier that is not the vet?
no.
So, what? How else would they
We've
interpret that?
we've
Yeah.
tried it so many times where we'll take them out the night before to try and get them used to it or something like that,
Yeah.
or just like have them available. So see if they turn them into beds or something. They're like, oh no, that thing's fucking bad. So there's been no way to actually like. I mean, you just gotta do it, man. And so.
Oh no, I got
Yeah,
you.
so the trick is you take a fucking beach towel and you throw it on the cat.
That's what you were saying. Yeah, it's just you have to fucking
you have to black bag them.
you have to CIA these fucking and
Yeah. No, the other one's fine. She'll hiss at you, but she'll like, okay, fine, I'll go in. But the fat one is just strong and belligerent. So and I mean, we took her to the vet, and it's so funny because every time we've taken her to the vet, we've looked at the report afterwards. And it's all like at the beginning, it's kind of like, she gets one tamale because she's a little spicy. And then it's two. And then it's three, little tamale stickers to the point in time where it's like, we have a standing like prescription for gabapentin and we have to fill that and drug the cat before we can go over there now because they don't want to get their people scratched. So, and it's like, okay, man. Then the other cat's just fine. So now she'll hiss at you like once or twice when you stick her in the carrier. And then, but when you open the carrier, she'll come right out. She'll do the thing. She'll go right back in the carrier and basically like close the door with her tail. It's like, I want to go home. So, and then get home, she's fine. All right. But fucking Fatty is just like, oh my God, I'm going to murder all of you. So, and I don't know. And we were opposite when we first got him. So yeah, no, Skinny Cat was a little feisty, a little spicy. Now she doesn't have any tamales on her thing. So because he's fine. I don't know what it is, man. This is weird fucking animals. So
you know what? You got me. I got I've got so few explanations sometimes for the behaviors of animals. Like some things I can predict, some things I can work on, some things it's like I get the psychology of it, no problem.
Right.
Right? There are other things like when she snapped at you the other day, I was like, where's this coming
Yeah.
from? Right? Can't tell.
Yeah, I wasn't even drinking beer that time, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
She used to nip at me when I would drink beer and then come over here. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
and that's the weird thing is like there are other times when she like you've seen it like when she would just like snuggle up like right next to you.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's utterly bizarre. I
Mhm.
can't quite figure it out. Yeah, and I don't know. I've contemplated, going to possibly like remedial behavior school.
What for her?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I want her to be able to get along with my brother's dog and stuff, right? There's
Oh
something
yeah, they
about
didn't really get along that well, did they?
no, and it's really weird because in the past she's had no problem getting along with other dogs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he used to canoodle all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's like so obviously that was fine. And when she was staying with that nice family and yeah, so Jamie's family and that nice family that I was taking her up to Denver with when I was working
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
She got along with those dogs too, but it's I don't know. I think it's something about my connection to her. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I can't speak to it. It's weird because she's seen me like you know me. I love other dogs, right? So
Mhm.
it's like clearly you can't think this is a threat because I'm over here with this dog like, rubbing her belly. It's like, oh, you're so good, right? So it's like, yeah, you should be able to identify that this is not a threat, but I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm saying I may have to reach outside like the limits of what um research
Right,
has
YouTube will tell you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you watch all that. What is it, Caesar Milan
You know what? And
videos?
some of the things that he taught me were absolutely true. Like
Oh yeah,
he's the one that showed me like this is how you treat separation anxiety in a dog, and that worked beautifully,
yeah.
right? Like, wow. I can't believe it was like, okay, well, we can keep doing this week and we'll keep practicing. And she's like, well, I don't love it when you're gone for really long times, but I'm fine.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
house
yeah,
is still
yeah.
standing. Um, Whereas she used to be incredibly destructive. So yeah, it's
I remember those days. Yeah.
yeah, my fucking front curtains are still in tatters because of like
I remember your couches.
my couches actually didn't get fucked up that bad.
I thought the old ones did before your mom gave you these.
No,
So, oh, okay.
no. Those she never fucked those up. No, the uh she would love to destroy things that were like plasticky.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Like remote controls.
It's like chew up those just like you can chew up the fucking garbage remotes all you want. Don't
Did you get your Bose
don't
one? Yeah.
it's like those are $100 and something to fucking replace. And I finally it's like, all right, fuck it. You know what? I refuse to pay this. Well, I went onto this place that was called like remotes.com and it says this works. Right. And I'm like, well, if it does, you'd be charging more than $9.95 for it.
Ah, yeah.
Said
Made in China.
it was, and in this case, I was willing to try it because it was literally over 10 times less, and it works fine.
Oh, okay. There
Works
you go. Yeah,
absolutely
perfect.
fine.
All
So
right.
whatever fucking proprietary bullshit that is evidently in a Bose remote.
Mm.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you, it does not look like a space age part. It looks like a piece of plastic with buttons, and it comes with a guide on how to basically emulate the controls on there, right?
Mhm.
Got it. No problem, right? So instead of hitting the proprietary Bose music button, you press shift plus this, and it does the same thing.
Okay.
So when all's said and done, yes, I don't love that she destroyed that thing, but I found a solution.
Yeah, a $10 solution. Yeah.
Be
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Be fine. Yes, she used to destroy my shoes. She used to,
I remember that.
yeah, she used to
Yeah.
wreck my shoes, which I thought was kind of funny, but all right, I'll get over it. Because most of the time it was like my crappy sandals.
Yeah, or running shoes that you already beat to shit and back. Yeah.
But I couldn't throw away
Right.
because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna need these for like the yard or
You need a
something like
backup
that.
pair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So she's past that, and God bless. Those weren't great days, but
No, I remember when you had a cager for a while.
that didn't work.
No, it didn't work at
That
all.
didn't work at all. Oh yeah, I loved when she chewed through the coax cable on the cable modem. That was fun.
I remember that.
It's like, how's your stomach?
Yeah. Yeah, no, my cats don't really chew on anything. I mean, the fatty will get on plastic every now and then. She's not supposed to, but you just got to be careful. She's got this thing for like packing tape. So if
Like she likes to eat it, or what?
she just likes to crinkle chew it, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I'm sure some of it goes down the trap, and that's not good for her. But whatever, you know. So the other thing is like, she doesn't get enough food in the house. So, but when she is hungry, she will go around the kitchen and open up all the cabinets. So just leave them open, you know.
Well, do you guys figure it out? Do you guys figure out and say like, well, if these are open, you must be hungry?
Yeah, but it's not time to feed you, so fuck off.
Was that a big fat one, or is that?
That's big fat one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Well, if it was a little
She's not
skinny
that
one,
big fat.
if there was a little skinny one doing it, would you be like, oh, well, you probably just need a snack because you never eat?
No, she's not that skinny. So she's actually just really healthy.
Okay.
So she's good at she's really good at regulating herself. So Fatty is not. She just like nom 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 nom. Just bulldozes all the food in her mouth, and then goes and passes out on her cat tree, sitting in the sun. So he just completely Garfields it. Oh God! Oh, I hate Monday. So anyway. But yeah, no, they're just smart, man. So they'll get into things. So like my skinny cat. So like over your stove, you have those little 2 cabinets up there.
Yeah.
I have this exact same ones. That's where I put all my placemats. So skinny cat will jump up there on top of my fucking fan like that. Okay, open that thing up and then nap in that. Yeah. So, and she knows that I can't get up there and get her out of there unless I get the fucking ladder out. So, and so after like a week or two, I was like, fuck it, I'm done fighting you. I guess you win. In fact, let me get the Christmas shit out of there so it's not got fucking stuff all over it, next Christmas. And so let me just put a little tea towel up there for you so I can wash it every now and then. Off you go, And it's like, okay, that was an easy solution. So, but
because when you come down to it, right? All right, that's the thing is you could have this like standoff. You could say that I am the owner of this house.
He's on the furniture.
Yeah, you're just like, I own this place. You sleep where I tell you to sleep, etc., etc.
Right.
Or you could also see, that this is, you really like it up here. Huh?
Yeah, you like it up here, huh? Okay.
What was I gonna do when like, how was I gonna sit there and police that dog when she was like, no, I really like jumping up on the pool table and I like sleeping in your luggage.
Oh right, yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, I have hundreds of places here that I know are softer than this, but you like it up here, so
have at it.
You know what? Enjoy.
Yeah,
enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing. She likes sleeping in the luggage.
Yeah,
so.
that's fine. Yeah.
I love you, buddy. It's fine.
Yeah. No, my only thing is there's some rooms in my basement I keep the cats out of them, so they get mad at me whenever I go in there. They're like, "What the fuck is in there?" Huh?
It's what's it to you?
Yeah. Well, so you had Caesar Malaya, like the cat guy is Jackson Galaxy. So
what is it? I know nothing about this. All right, who is he, and what is his?
He had a show that was right side by side with Milan's show on A&E back in the day, but it was cats instead of dogs. So same. Like fucking like right after his, so or maybe right before, I don't know. So I mean, not like they were running concurrently. I mean, like time slot.
Well, they were on the same network, right?
I think so. Okay. It was either A&E or Bravo. I can't remember.
Okay.
So, but it was one of those channels back then. And so, but he was the guy. Like his show is called My Cat from Hell. So and it ran for years.
Okay. Yeah.
So and then I don't know if he still does TV, but he did a YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is fucking great because it's all that same shit. It's like, okay, so if your cat's doing this, this is what it could mean, kind of thing. Try this, and so it's just really good cat advice,
Does it work?
To as much as it can in general. So, but like every cats are a little bit like less programmable. So, like you treat training a cat's really fucking hard. Some of them take to it, a lot of them do not. So a lot of them just like, oh, that's cool. Give me a fucking treat, asshole. He was like, you want me to dance? No. I want to sit here and wait here until you give me another treat. They're just smart, man. About that stuff, and that's the same thing. Like if cat pees on a carpet, you can't rub its nose in it. So,
right.
He taught me a lot of things. He taught me don't use squirt bottles on our cats. He's totally right about that. So, because the cats do not have this ability to attach like dogs do, where if they do something, okay, then there's a punishment that's not related to that afterwards. Okay, dogs be like, well, that gets me squirted. Cats are like, why the fuck did you squirt me? So, yeah. So they don't, a lot of them don't make that connection. So between, recent action and what you're doing to them right now. So
how do you get cats to avoid doing the things that you don't want them to do?
Well, you got to set up the environment in ways where, they don't do those things because they have better alternatives. So that's the whole thing by having like a humongous cat tree. They said every cat in the world would much rather scratch that than your furniture. So I don't care if you think it's fucking ugly, get one. So and put it in a nice spot in your house, not a shitty one where nobody can see it, because that's not what the cat wants. The cat wants to be able to see you at all points in time. And so it's just like little smart little things like that.
Okay,
that really make a difference. So and he's totally right about a lot of stuff. It's like, well, if your cat's peeing all over the house, well, when's the last time you did the litter box? So because just about every time that happens, it's because you don't change the litter. So and the cat's like, well, you flush your toilet every time you use it. So if you didn't do that for a month, you'd probably pee on the carpet too. So
well, you raise a good point. Is if your toilet was essentially dirtier, right, than the clean places in your house, right? It's like, no, this toilet is actually too dirty, to use.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and with cats, I mean, that's the thing. You never have to teach them to bury.
No. Right? No, that's completely. Yeah.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah.
And so if they were, from that species of sand cats where they all come from.
That kind of makes sense.
You have the entire desert.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You got a lot of sand.
Yeah. You don't have to go to the same places. Like, well, I have the entire, like, sub-Saharan, like,
Right, yeah.
But
you gave me this one little, like, 2 foot.
I'm gonna keep hitting this.
Yeah, 2 square foot patch of it. Yeah. So, but you're gonna make me hit it over and over and over again. Yeah. No, it's just like a lot of little things like that. Really do make a difference, And so, I mean, a lot of the things, it's cool, and I don't know if you noticed this with Caesar, but like there's things that you figure out, and then he'll talk about it later. It's like, oh, I fucking figured that out, yeah. So,
maybe I can't think of the last thing that would have been like that, but I don't know. I don't know, because the last things I've been working on have been like socializing the dog, and that just has been completely unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So that's why at that point I'm like, well, maybe this is something that I have to take a different perspective on. Maybe it's
it's never a bad thing to ask for help, man. So,
no. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. Which is rough, but at the same time, if it's something that I think would benefit her.
Yeah. Well, how old is she now? She's got to be 10.
About 7.
7?
Yeah.
She's only 7?
7, 8. Yeah.
God dang, man. Fucking time flies. So.
Yeah, I know. Look, as far as I'm concerned, she's still a puppy to me, but, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
The aging process is kind of... Dude, I doubt my own age most of the time. Since I wake up and like, I don't know how old I am.
I have to look at my driver's license anymore, man.
It's a question of, if I wake up and like I can pop out of bed, or I wake up and like, God, I got a lot of sore stuff. Or there's,
That's just normal after 40, I think. So
Well, okay, so I know that for me, a lot of that is going to come from like weightlifting and stuff like
yeah,
that,
sure.
right?
Yeah, my wife hurt herself weightlifting.
What'd she do?
She fucked up her wrist, so she's got the fucking cast on now. So
Oh,
not the like actual cast, the Velcro one.
oh, okay,
That yeah, that a
the extra
doctor's like,
support one,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Says don't take this off for a week, so kind of thing, and except to like take a shower and stuff, and stop lifting that heavy shit every day. So you need to give yourself a little bit of a break.
Well, I've been experimenting with that too, like in terms of how hard I've been hitting it, trying to change up certain routines, um, going a little bit more intense on certain things than others. So but that's the lifelong
Oh yeah,
process.
no, for you
Yeah.
it's almost a hobby, man. So in some respects, I mean, you've tried everything. So
Well, yeah,
I remember when you swam for like 2 years.
I had to.
Right.
I had no choice. My hip was so fucked up. You remember when
I
I
remember
couldn't
that.
walk?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And man, it takes me a long time to get to a point where I'm like,
it does.
I can't power my way through this.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't move it.
No, I've seen that happen to other people. So too. Who are a lot younger than you too, to tell you the truth. Yeah. So
The body does what it does.
hey man, it does what it does. I mean, all the athletes that I deal with at school, I've seen some guys get really fucked up. It's like, you try to do what now? So, after you did that yesterday, nice. So yeah,
Look, I get the psychology behind it too. That's the hard thing about it, Patrick. I guess I would ask you this, right? Because the idea behind this is, you tell me this. I don't know if you have a version of this that you I don't want to say adhere to or even fall into. Like, are there things that you do that you're like, all right, yes, I clearly can say that I know this is bad for me, but I refuse to stop doing it.
beer. Yeah, duh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
yours.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Got it.
No, man.
Got
I
it.
mean, I am not too many steps removed from being like diagnosable alcoholic in some things, and I've gotten a lot better over the last 2 months. To tell you the truth, that's one thing that Dizzy has helped with.
Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah. Yeah.
So because then it's really bad.
Yeah, I'd
So,
imagine that would have a compounding effect. Yeah.
well, yeah, and I just can't drink the way that I used to, man. So my hangovers are so bad now. So that like I mean, it was no thing to go out and pound like 8, 9 beers, so no problem. So and then yeah, go home, get up, go to work, do it again the next day, no problem. So now I never drank like the hard liquor like your brother did. So I mean, I never got into like I was like, oh, how much is it, fifth, kind of thing. So I mean, I have my poison, man. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it is something. It is clearly bad for me. If I stopped doing that, I would instantaneously probably lose about 30 pounds over the course of maybe 3 or 4 months. So
Yeah.
yeah, which would put me probably right where my weight should be. So because I don't eat that much, so when I do eat, I eat a fuckload better than I did a year ago.
Right.
So I mean, like just about everything that goes in my mouth is something I made now.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and I know what's in it. I know it doesn't have all this fucking xanthanum gum and bullshit in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I eat clean. I eat fresh vegetables or frozen vegetables, and then meat. So just about every meal. So and I don't even like. I used to just sit down and chow down on like a stick of Oreos.
Yeah.
Now I'll have like 3. So that's good. So that's all I need.
What's wrong? I guess the other nice thing is that at this point, when I do get, because I'll treat myself to something once a week,
Yeah, sure.
right? And that actually feels like a treat, and it feels like that's what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? You have some pizza, that feels like a treat. If you
Yeah.
decide to go have
Mhm.
burgers, that feels like a treat. I'm like, you know what? This is cool. This is
That being said, I did go to the Mickey D's the other night. So
Good stuff.
Yeah, the new onion burger where they cook it, the Big Mac.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's fucking great. It's divine.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's excellent. Anyway, not to
Yeah,
get
no,
too
no, no,
distracted, but yeah.
No, well,
I did do that the other week.
That's part of it. Yeah, that's the thing is you're not used to it.
No.
Like you and I can talk about like fucking. There were days when it was like, did you make anything at home? It's like no.
No.
There were weeks.
Oh yeah, there were
like,
weeks where it was like, what did you make? A toaster strudel? That counts, right?
Yeah.
Eggo waffles, peanut butter sandwich. Yeah.
You're like, did you eat at home? It's like, well, yeah, I went and got something and brought it home.
Oh yeah.
But that's not eating at home. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there were. I mean, when I was working in Denver, man, I mean, I would eat at Burger King every fucking day.
That's what you said. Yeah.
Every day,
Yeah.
I would go in, I'd get a triple stack and a Coke, the big one, and that would get me through the night. So every fucking day, it's like guaranteed $5 at the window. Here you go. I worked 4 days a week. I'd go and I'd get a 20 out of the cash machine. So, and that would last me all week. So, every day. And I lost weight during that because that was all I, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was all I ate. So, yeah, it was just bad. So,
well, what's funny is you know,
I mean, I was on my feet all day too. So,
well, I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, it's a triple stack. So there's actually a lot of like meat in there.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, all you were getting was a Coke. So, I mean,
yeah, I did not get the fries. So,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
So, and specifically not because like Burger King's fries were, well, they're not great.
They're not bad.
They're not bad, but like I couldn't do it for $20. So that so it was that time when you get that, like the Coke was like $1 and the burger was like $3.50, and so you know it just worked out. So yeah, but no, that was back in the day. I never fucking cooked anything at home. So I mean, weekend would come around and, you know, Pam would be like, oh, let's go out. And be like, okay, we'd go pick out a restaurant and, you know, we'd go eat out twice a week, you know, spend like $50 on a fucking meal. Now, like, I spend $50 on a pack of steaks and I make like 5 meals out of it. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. At one point I tried to break down. I'm like, all right, well, what should my per meal cost be?
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is
it doesn't really work.
No, because then you start looking at things and you start like trying to chop down things that you realistically shouldn't. You're like, well, if it's a 410, then I can make it 380 by doing this. I'm like, but I don't want that chicken.
Yeah, I don't want that chicken. I don't want that kind of fish. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't want the cheap rice, you know. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, and that's something my mother-in-law taught me was like, when you start cooking, use the right ingredients, you know, and then learn how much to cook. So, you know, because, I mean, then once you learn how much to cook and, you know, you're not like making this huge batch of fucking, you know, I mean, like casseroles. I used to make enormous casseroles. And then, you know, about halfway through the week, you'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to eat any more of this, blah. You know, and then you find out you're throwing out half your shit. Yeah. Because, and so then, you know, the solution there is to buy a smaller casserole dish. You know? So,
see, it's like, why is this logic so hard?
I know.
This should be like absolutely simple.
Yeah.
But I mean, then again, like I guess my question is that casserole dish that you're talking about right there, is it approximately the size of say what your mother's would have been back in the day?
Absolutely. Yeah, rather than this big old fucking Pyrex monster. That's designed for like the company potluck that I was using before.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wait a minute, this is stupid. So yeah.
And you know, and then you turn around and say like, well, why did she need the big one? And it's like, well, she was feeding 2 growing boys, and I'm fairly certain your father probably had a decent appetite.
My dad would eat everything. So yeah.
So I know that he would eat everything, but I don't know like
he would eat everything in massive quantities.
Yeah. Second question. All right, so
like he would murder an entire bag of Snyder's pretzels. So like the sticks, it would take him like 2 or 3 days. So he'd just sit in there and read a book, drink a beer, and then just munch on these things like carrots. And he was Bugs Bunny, man. So yeah. So, like, I mean, the guy could eat. So
that's why your mom needed the big casserole.
Right.
But if you have that thing for your family.
Right, yeah, exactly. Where my daughter's like, well, there's no chicken nuggets in this, so I can't fucking eat this. Yeah. So-
You know, you could probably turn around and make like a chicken nugget casserole, and she'd be like, "This is not how I want."
That's
them."
exactly what's happened in the
This is
past several times
yeah.
on certain things. So it's like, I made homemade French fries. It's like, oh, they're not the way that I like them. I was like, what the fuck? They're potatoes. So,
They're better than the way that you want.
right, I know. So, like, I mean, look at them. Like, they made them all like wedge-like steak fries and stuff.
See, that's
You know,
okay.
it's
That's
just like, no. I'm like, what?
no, it's fine. No, you're right, and it is kind of weird where as you get older and you actually get to see the actual versions of things that you've had, kind of versions like that,
Sure.
and you're like, wait, this is what actual cheesecake tastes like, because there used to
Right.
be this like, well, you guys, I don't know. Would your mom like occasionally buy like the frozen desserts?
She still does.
Okay.
You know those Viennetta like ice cream lasagna things?
Yeah.
She fucking loves those, man. So she
Yeah.
buys those all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, there's nothing wrong with
No.
it. I'm not. But it's just when you get around to certain things, you're like, oh, well, this is what cheesecake actually tastes like instead of that
Oh, yeah.
frozen shit, right? This is, I mean,
Yeah. No, I'm tracking. So, but my mom's always like she is always the person when she goes to like King Supers or something like that. She must go by the bakery. So,
oh, me too.
yeah, because she's like, okay, so what kind of like baked dessert in the plastic clamshell things do they have now?
Absolutely.
And she buys those all the time. And so like when I was growing up, she'd always have like coffee cake. She'd always have that, or like the Entenmann's that come in the white boxes. If they didn't have one in the fucking um, that had been fresh made by the bakery, she'd go buy one of those. So she always had something like that in there. It was that, or lemon bars, or fucking blueberry crumble, or what's the it's like the apple pie, but it's not. It's got all the crumbles on shit on top of it. I don't remember.
Well, okay, so I mean, there's a couple of different things like that. It could be like, it could just be like straight up like apple crumble. It could
I
be.
think it was Dutch apple something. I can't remember. So
You'd have to tell me more.
Yeah,
'cause
I don't know.
just the having the crumbles on it doesn't.
yeah, no, I don't really know. So it was.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, she buy that shit all the time. And so but then yeah, like desserts, same thing. Always had some kind of ice cream in the house or some kind of treats. Her thing was Klondike bars. We always had Klondike bars in the house. Oh, they're delicious. She would always get the Heath ones too, which are the best ones.
Mix them up, man. You get the regular ones,
I-
sometimes you get the heat ones, sometimes you get the crunch ones. That's fine.
Oh my god, I haven't had crunch one in ages. I'd eat that right now. So, but yeah, no, she used to buy that shit all the time, man. So, and my dad wouldn't touch that shit. So he did not have a sweet tooth. So,
Right.
yeah, he
right,
did
right.
not have a sweet tooth.
He had a salt tooth, right?
He definitely had a salt tooth.
Yeah.
So he's very much like my wife. My wife has a bad salt tooth. So, in fact, it's hard to find a point in time in my
Might have
house.
the same way.
Oh no, I know you are too, man. You've got her beat though. So on that
Well,
one.
no, I have no restrict. It's like what kind of tooth is it? Is it food? Yeah, of course. I'll enjoy pretty much anything. But yeah, my dad was the same way. He was a salty guy. The only thing
Yeah.
that he liked, right,
Yeah.
was Dad got a 6-pack of Eskimo pies every week.
Oh man,
right?
Eskimo pies.
Right? And it's like you want to look at my dad, right? And I'm asking him like about, so you've traveled this world 10 times over.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah. It's like, and you've eaten at all these places. It's like, yeah. It's like, but you want the ice cream on a stick.
Dude, that's a very Ohio.
But,
thing.
I
Yeah.
know.
That's a very
I know.
Ohio
I
thing.
get it.
Yeah, see, the salt and like salty snacks. I mean, that's a baseball thing, and that's my dad. So
Oh man, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
would always have pretzels or like the huge fucking can, like the coffee can of Plancher's dry roast. So never the honey roast. He didn't like them; they were too sweet. So always the dry roast, and he would just munch on those. So that and pretzels, and like if you had anything in our house like Lay's or Ruffles, they were murdered. So the only thing he did not like Pringles, and so if you wanted chips and you didn't want him to eat them, you got Pringles. So because he wouldn't touch them, they were like kryptonite.
I get it. No, and Dad, I don't recall Dad having a problem with Pringles. Dad liked Lay's,
Yeah.
right? And occasionally Ruffles.
My dad would always. We would get the Eagle potato chips. he would.
You told me, yeah.
You get the
yeah.
burnt ones. He would
Yeah.
kill that bag as soon as he found it. So
I would have too.
yeah, well, you gotta hide it from him, man. Although, and he would like, if you had it out while you're watching TV or something, he'd watch you.
Hey,
So,
hey.
he's like, hey, I'll leave those here.
No. So my dad's other two things. He didn't like the big puffy Cheetos. He liked the Planters ones, the cheese curls.
Oh, the really skinny ones?
Yeah, because they were dense. And the other thing that he would go crazy for were Durkee potato sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And I can see that's something that your dad would probably
All the time.
enjoy too.
All
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
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 We had those in the house. The big can of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was his thing. And again, this is my father. This is another one of those things I loved about him. It's like it's okay. So he's very routine with these things. Yes, he will mix them up, and what he will do is he will go to the kitchen, and like a grown up, which I can't fathom, is he goes there and he gets one dish. He's like, I'm gonna have this many Durkee potato sticks.
Oh no.
He would never bring the container.
Oh no, my dad. It was tucked under his arm, man. Yeah. So.
Like, you're so disciplined, Dad.
Oh no, it's tucked under his arm, man. The same thing, the pretzels. So the whole bag. I mean, he'd sit at our kitchen table, read his book, drink beer, and eat pretzels. That's what he did after dinner.
That's
so,
the night.
Yeah.
That's his night right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'd be in bed probably about like 10 or 11. So, and then he'd up at 5 every day. So, see, that's the one thing that I don't understand is my parents operated off very little sleep. So, compared to what I get now. So, because I'm now at the age where it's like, okay, I'm old enough I can remember kind of my parents' routine. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm about the age where they were when I started paying attention to that stuff. So, like junior high.
Oh,
age,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's like, and I'm almost getting to the point in time where it'll take about another 5 years or so, but that'll be when I started working with my dad, and he would be my age.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so, it's got this kind of weird benchmark. And I sleep a fuckload more than my parents did. It's fantastic. So I sleep more than anybody in my fucking neighborhood. So right now, I can tell you, man, because so Pam and Kat will get up, they'll go to the school thing. Pam will go to the gym and stuff like that. I don't have shit to do until 1 o'clock. And so some days I'll be like, yeah, I want a cup of coffee, maybe eat one of them fucking biscuits, or something, whatever. Or I'm just going to stay here in bed. And maybe I'll scroll through the TikTok on my phone or the YouTube shorts for a bit. Or maybe I'll just put my phone away and roll back over and get another round in. So, and then meanwhile, all in my neighborhood, man, people are starting up their cars. They're playing with their kids. Yeah, they're mowing their lawns. Yeah. All kinds of shit. So out there shoveling their driveways, and I'm like, I'm not going to get up till 11. It'll be melted off by then, so I don't know what you're doing. So
I know what you're doing. You have to get out right now.
I guess, man. So, well, not the retirees in my neighborhood. I got a couple of those, and they just force of habit, man. It's like, oh my God, there's ice on the driveway. So
yeah, look, and I know that there's that same old thing where I imagine you heard this when you were a kid too. It's like, well, you got to shovel the walk. It's like, why? It's like, well, because someone slips on it, they own your house.
Right, I've heard that. My mom still thinks that way. She still absolutely. I'm like, Mom, you live in an HOA covenanted neighborhood. Okay, and on top of that, I don't know how she and my dad managed to pull this up. They got $1 million umbrella policy that's followed them from house to house to house ever since my mom had that business in her house. So it's fantastic policy. So, and every time she's gotten a new, because she's been with the same agency for years, but the agency has changed hands a few times. And every time the new agent would come in and take a look at her policy, they'd be like, how the fuck did you get this? It's like, don't ever let this elapse.
I was saying, where did she originally? Oh, you know what? I'm not going to know.
Yeah, no, I don't know either.
But yeah.
So, but it was just something they got, and then she just maintained it over years, and so yeah. But she's always got that thing. Well, the mailman could come, and I was like, he's not going to fucking come up here. So your mailbox is down there, okay? So, well, he could, and it's like, okay, you're just looking for things to worry about. You need to chill out on this stuff. So, And there's always been like, that element of like almost like there's this adulting thing that you have to do that's almost ritualistic once you have certain number of obligations. So this is a very suburban kind of thing. So you're supposed to take care of your yard. You're supposed to wash your car. Okay. So you're supposed to get the mail like every day. So, right? So it's just like this little laundry list of shit that people used to do back in the 80s. And if you didn't do it, you were that family on the block.
Yeah, and everybody knew that family.
And everybody knew that family. They're the ones with the fucked up kids. So,
yeah.
So I think they smoked the wacky tobacco, Yeah.
No, I understand that. And look, I understand where it comes from. And I also know that, hey, you and I both know that, our dads, it came from military stuff. So I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an element of that in there, although I don't guarantee it. But there were, you and I are sort of the exception on this, right? And I've been finding this out more and more that, man, do a lot of people, like, their shit is just not cool if they do not have like a routine, like, and I mean a real routine where like if that's out of whack, they start to feel a little bit funny. It's you get up at this time, you go to sleep at this time,
Right.
I find the comfort is like I watch this or I watch this, this is just my show, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, I gotta tell you, I find discomfort in that as I get older, right? I find discomfort in if I feel like I've been doing the same thing in the same motion, it's like I feel like I'm standing still. I feel like,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it bothers me.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Yeah, no, like I mean, so many of the jobs that's why I love my current job is because it changes it up every 6 months, which is great. Okay, it's kind of roughly the same contours, but it'll be a different time of day, so the sun will be in a different spot. I don't have to be there like every single day, 15 minutes early, punching in, have my coffee ready to go, kind of thing. I mean, I did the punch clock thing for so fucking long, and I mean, like even airport days. I remember being so inured to routine at the time that like how busy it was didn't even bother me. All right, if it was really fucking busy, the day did not go any faster. If it was fucking dead and I literally just sat there on the curb and stared straight forward, time would go just as fast. So because I had gotten that routinized into it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is before you had a smartphone, so you could sit there and watch YouTube or listen
Jesus
to something.
Christ, I know.
I know, and so you'd have a book. You go through every magazine that was stashed in the Delta counter, or something like that.
You play the Othello machine.
You play the Othello machine.
We had that book of crosswords.
I played so much fucking solitaire on the old Delta counter, so that like. It was just like, okay, fine. I always had a deck of cards in my bomber jacket, So, and I mean,
it was just like, I guess I'll start smoking.
Right, yeah. And so, yeah, that would be great. So then at least I could go around the corner and get a different change of scenery around this fucking place. So, yeah, but, it was just one of those things where it became so routinized that, and then the next thing you know, you turn around and months had just peeled off the calendar. They'd be like, oh, fuck, it's Christmas time already. Cool. And it was just like, yeah, I just feel like completely stuck. And I've had a couple jobs where that was much, much worse than others. So, and now that I'm not in that, and thankfully my wife's broken loose from that too. And she sees kind of the merit of like, okay, I'm in charge of my own fucking time. Fuck you. Now,
right.
So kind of thing. And
right.
it's really not that hard to do, It takes some grind and it takes some grunt work up front. But like you put together this great career in like what, a fucking year, if that. So
no, I mean, so okay, yes, it's not just the thing is it's not just doing the same thing, over and over again. Which
right.
For me, okay, yeah, that is. I can't speak to the merit of that. To me, that is like Dante Alighieri is like seventh layer of hell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is like for the people I know. Look, there's a certain crowd of people, and I'm not denigrating anyone. There are some people that, again, the comfort comes from, I will very unlikely come across new scenarios today.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is get through without the stress of having to deal with that, right? Totally understand.
Sure.
But there's also a different type of class of people, you and I included, and sometimes will. Sometimes that dude is kind of like, well, this chicken isn't the way I like it. But there's also, uh, but there's
Green ketchup. You know?
someone might cook.
Someone, yeah,
I'll have his head. No, there's a piece of him that, yes, also likes routine, but also rebels against that just a little bit too,
sure.
right? So, but there are, for you and it's a prison sentence. It's like you
It's
and
terrible,
I, it
man.
is. You and I start to feel absolutely mentally confined, and you can see it in our faces. You can see it. It's like, are you sick? It's like, no,
No,
but I can't leave now. I can't.
right.
I can't quit this.
Yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah,
Want to quit, can't quit.
want to quit, can't quit. That's when you start fantasizing about building the place down, burning the place down. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said,
So
it's
yeah,
that unique thing where yes, it's just like whether it's a slow day or a busy day, it's still a day.
it's a day, and it's a day that's wasting my time. So
Yes.
but I can't do it because I got bills. So or, I said I would stick around for another 3 months. Or some kind of commitment. It's patched on there, or I need the benefits. I've been in that one many times. So, yeah, it's just brutal. And so, like, actually, I mean, COVID's kind of a blessing in that. So, because, like, I realized that, all right, so even if I were to lose my job tomorrow, I'd get a new one next week that would even better hours now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't actually require me to drive anywhere. So, but I like my job. And so I've been there, what, 8 years now, which means it's my
Yeah.
record holder.
Yeah. Is it?
So
Is
it is
now?
officially
Okay.
my record holder. I did 7 years at the airport in that first gig. So that was my long-standing record holder out of the 17 jobs that I've had over the course of my life. So, yeah. I mean, I tell my students that it's just like mind blown by that. And I was like, yeah, that's normal. So, now I might be a little bit of an outlier, but if you want 20 jobs, you can get it. Just it's not going to take you that much work. So, kind of thing. So, but it's just it's like the whole concept of like my dad who worked for the same company for 41 fucking years is absolute insanity.
That was the what was that that was the episode of the time. It was like 1960 fucking
Fucking eight, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh yeah, I think we did bitch about that once already.
It wasn't a bitching. It was talking about like we were talking about like what's the company gonna do for you?
Oh, right,
It's,
yeah.
it's and I mean look, it's the same thing like with my dad because I can sit there and say like, all right, for a while there, his resume was basically Air Force, 1960 something to
Right.
91 or whatever.
Right. Air
A
Force.
25-year period,
Yeah.
right? Where
He just puts his MOS on there. Yeah,
I mean, like I can't. For a lot of people, that's the whole career, right?
Well, and I mean, there's still guys who do that, but like even in the service nowadays, like I mean, okay, so I get a few service members. I don't get near as many as I used to. So in school, I used to get tons of them because when they rotate out, it's like, oh, there's no more war. It's like, well, this sucks. I'm gonna go get a degree,
Well,
So but then like so I still get a few of them every now and then, and none of them, like even the last guy, I just saw him last week. I was talking to him a little bit, and he was Air Force. And I was like, how far did you make it? And he's like, I did 12 years. And I was like, oh, you didn't go for 20? He was like, I couldn't do it, man. So he was like, when I hit 8, I thought that maybe I'd go and do the NCO thing and get up there real quick. But he said after 2 years on that last re-up, I was like, I'm fucking done. So he's like, the days where the Air Force is going to take care of you unless you're willing to play their fucking game and stuff like that is just, it's not the way that it used to be. So, and he's like, I got tired of being told where to be at 5 o'clock in the morning every time. I don't want them to move me. So he says I PCSed every 2 years for the last like 12 years of my life. So I'm not going to do that to my fucking family anymore. And it's just like, you know what? You're right, man. So that's just, I mean, that's a special kind of dude who can do that now. You got to have a good family unit behind you too in order to be able to back that up, and a lot of people just don't have that anymore. So
what stress? I mean,
yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, and this is the thing. This was, where again, I'm not picking on Dad,
Sure.
because your dad has my dad beat in terms of, tenure and
Well,
that
no,
kind
my
of
dad
stuff.
was reservist though, man.
Well, no, I mean with
So,
PWA, I'm talking about
oh
just
yeah,
one
yeah.
spot, right? But the thing is, like in certain places, like if you were a fireman, okay,
Oh yeah.
25 years, you're done, and that's a full,
That's full pension. Here's your
yeah,
gold watch.
yeah,
Yeah, and you
yeah,
get a seat, you get a permanent seat at the local pub.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah. No, this is my grandfather. My grandfather was in the New York City Fire Department.
For him, it would have been
Firefighter.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Well,
have
I
been.
think he did like 30 or
Well, no, no,
something.
but he would have gotten full benefits at
Sure.
least at
Yeah.
20 when
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
doing it.
Yep. Yep.
Because I know they didn't even start pushing it up until Giuliani and Bloomberg ended up changing that a little bit.
I'm not too familiar with the ins and outs of New York policy,
But yeah, for a long time, yeah, it was like 20.
yeah, fair
You do
enough.
20
Yeah.
and you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. Yeah. In fact, that was how a lot of guys would quote unquote double dip. They do 20?
Everybody in the military would do that.
Yeah.
You do that. You get your 20 and then you go work for a contractor.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then you double dip.
yeah.
See, like my dad, he kind of did that because his first, I think, 8 years were active duty. That was during Vietnam.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then after that, he stayed in the reserves. And then so whenever he got deployed, he would double dip like that.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
because
yeah.
they turn around and you're like, hey, guess what? I'm getting deployed. You got to still fucking pay me. So because it's the law. So and then he pulled out his Air Force and his overseas pay and all that shit. So let alone the times that he went to like war.
Right.
Yeah. He would volunteer to do that shit too, man. So, because you get paid like triple. So, and they couldn't tell him no. He had work. So, yeah. No, he's just had one of those specialties. It was like, hey, we got this thing in Panama. He's like, I'll fucking go. So, hey, we're gonna invade Grenada and sink it with the weight of the Marine Corps. So, hey, I'll go to that.
Yeah, that's how
It was funny.
Yeah, he and that used to be the thing is you'd get in there, especially on things like that where you actually retired out at like 20.
Mhm.
Cops would do the same
Cops would
thing.
do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, there's a ton of cops that come out of the military and go right in the like, police department. They still do that. So, police department's got all these billboards downtown. So,
Really?
hiring, yes.
really.
Yeah, looking for people. So, they got a big one out on South Academy coming around from I-25, that big curve right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want cops, huh?
Go on, cops, man. Go be a cop.
Remember how hard it used to be to be?
It used to be fucking impossible. So, like, I mean, you had to be in such, like, amazing physical shape. You had to go through, like all that shit that you went through, Like,
Oh, that and that was for like fucking like clerical work.
right, yeah, exactly. And so,
And they still washed me.
it used to be impossible, man. And so, yeah, but apparently they got money to hire new guys now. So,
Dude, we knew guys that were trying to be cops.
oh, I knew people, yeah.
Yeah, and they
It was
were
hard.
And you were talking about guys that were in shape,
Mhm.
the perfect age, perfect attitude.
Yep.
And I can't. Why couldn't they get on?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like one of them, Tony, he was going through a thing with his wife at the time. I don't think it turned into a divorce, but there was something going on at that point. I remember they called me and they were like just grilling me on the phone and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
They were asking you about his wife.
I think she might have been his girlfriend at the time. I don't remember. So, but yeah, he decided not to go through with that. I do know a guy who actually did become state patrol back then. But state patrol is kind of like the military. When you sign up, you don't know where you're going to go.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know this. And so, and he got all the way through, went through the academy and shit like that. They said, Montrose. So, just way out on the Western Slope. And he's like, okay. And he did it for like 2 years and he was like, I can't do it anymore. I'd rather throw luggage for a living. Then he came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, no, there was a bunch of guys who tried that back in the day. Man, it was hard to become a cop even like 5 years ago. So yeah, now like I don't know if they've had a lot of retirements or if it's all the all the BLM stuff that happened the last couple of years and blowback against
I've
cops.
heard a lot of guys saying like, look, when it's time to get out, I'm not gonna stay in. I'm gonna get out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, look, I've heard that, again, this is the same kind of thing with the civil service. I've heard, like, firefighters talk about how a lot of these places have changed to, like, civilian oversight. And it's something where, they've started, changing the rules on certain things and saying that like, um, hey, you're going to do things this way and stuff like that instead of basically being ruled in house. And, I get it.
That's kind
Um,
of rough, man.
it is for the people that are there. I can tell what they're doing. It's something where they're phasing it out and basically saying like, okay, so yeah, this current crop of people are going to hate it. They're going to want to quit. They're going to dislike it. But the people who are new are going to not know any different. And
Yeah, but I mean, you saw what happened to EMTs like 5, 10 years ago. Where they all got farmed out.
what was the trick on that? What did it say?
I don't know the
I
exact
don't know the
like deal
story.
on it, but I just remember that their wages just completely imploded. And then that's one of the big reasons why the fire trucks always go out on the same calls. So it's because basically, all right, fine. There's a little bit of a redundancy built into the system there, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that structure fires are exceedingly rare and things like that.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely. But you can't cut that down to like nothing because if there is a fire, you have to have that many.
you have to have those guys. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you have a big one with a bunch of rail cars, threaten to turn the middle of your town into molten lava. But I digress, So
Yeah, I get it, and I know that's changing, and I guess for me, like, oh yeah, yeah, and I know that there's always talk about like, what do we do with police? What are we really gauging here? What do we really want out of our cops? And I think you and I have agreed on this at some point where the demilitarization of it is actually something that needs to happen.
yeah, some of that, like, I don't know, man. I was listening to a really interesting podcast the other day.
Yeah.
So I got hooked on GunTube a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I don't know why. So it's
Well, because evidently it's constantly calling out to you.
it is constantly trying to get its hooks into me. So, but anyway, it led to this podcast. This one guy that I listened to, his name's Matt Lewis. He's a pretty good dude. So he's a writer. He had this gun guy on there. That was like a gun executive for years. And he was basically talking about how the assault weapons ban in like 1994 kind of led to this, oh yeah, we'll fucking show you kind of attitude after George W. Bush let that expire. And then what happened was that hit right in 2004, right when Iraq started getting going hard. So,
Okay.
and then so you see on the news all these guys fighting, the jihadis with, the fucking black rifle. And then so, those guys rotate back. A lot of them want to have a black rifle at this point in time. But he was actually breaking down the statistics on like assault weapons. They are not what I thought they were. So they're like almost non-existent until like that mid 2000s. I mean, you've got a few guys out there, and I knew a couple who had something funky. Okay, but it wasn't seen as like, oh, that's the gun you have to have. It was kind of like, wow, that's kind of rare. I haven't seen that, kind of thing. So, because everybody else is like, if you want a cool gun, you get like a 1911, or
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that, if you home defense, you get the pistol grip pump shotgun, which everybody had, at the time and stuff. So, but the thing about it that he started pointing out, he's like, you got to understand is that there's something that's fundamentally different about that, like the black rifle concept. This is a distinctly self-offense weapon. So it's not a defense weapon. It's what you grab when it's time to roll. So kind of thing. And, so, and he started going into the whole culture behind that shit and stuff. And then talking about the very specific people that the NRA, he's like, okay, so I came from the industry and, I have a lot of good things to say about it. I, definitely Second Amendment guy and blah, blah, blah and stuff like that. He's like, but there was a lot of pressure not coming from the gun manufacturers, that was bleeding through the NRA on Congress. It was the other way around. So it was like the NRA could put guys into Congress, all right, who would then turn around and pressure the gun companies to basically take these really, like diehard stances against anything that came up Second Amendment. So we were kind of talking about that the other day.
Okay.
But he was talking about this whole thing that happened in like, the early 2000s was Smith & Wesson was actually trying to design like this child-proof trigger lock that would come on all its guns. Kind of stuff, and they got such horrendous, and they were doing this just like oh, this is probably the right thing to do, you know?
Okay.
So we don't
Yeah.
want kids playing with your fucking guns, so
All right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so
Yeah.
if we made this a feature on a lot of our new models and stuff like that, it probably, you know, a lot more people would want to buy them because they'd be safe. You don't have to buy a safe or a case or whatever,
Okay.
you know, and stuff like that. So, and they got such pushback from the NRA at that point in time where they basically had a powwow and they said, okay, there was like another shooting. It was pre-Columbine or maybe post-Columbine, not by too much back then. But they had mentioned it and I could vaguely remember it. It had something to do with like California and a law office or something.
Now, was this okay? Was this prior to? All right. So what I totally forgot about, right? It's crazy. Is what I forgot about was the. This was 1997 or 98. The California standoff where the guys had the crazy armor on, and
Oh, yeah. The two guys with the AKs and all the
Yes.
body armor. It took
Yes.
like all the fucking LAPD to take him down.
yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and that was. It turns out that was like 97, 98.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Okay.
actually predates Columbine.
Yeah, you're right. I do remember that though, because I mean, it was all over fucking extra, extra. You know? So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that was.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I forgot. That's what the movie Heat is about. I mean,
That's right.
Yeah.
But both those guys got killed. So
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually,
'Cause remember,
it did take a while, yeah.
they had to requisition firearms from the gun stores
that's right.
to
Yeah.
take those guys
yeah,
out
yeah.
because the cop weapons couldn't do it.
Yeah, they didn't have the guns. So yeah, no, I do remember that. You're right. That was before Columbine.
It was, yeah.
I remember it just because it had such clear camera footage because it was like a bank.
It was
or
crazy.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if maybe this was like sort of a response to that, or
It might have been, but this guy's point, and I wish I could remember his name. But his point was, he was like, okay, so there's gun manufacturers who were a lot smaller back then. He's like, Smith and Wesson's the big one, and so they decide to do this, and everybody else in the industry freaks out because they don't have the tech to be able to do this and stuff. And so they run into the NRA, who just has this powwow and decides, hey, look, we can use some of these instances either as reasons to turn to like Smith and Wesson, say you guys are doing the right thing, and try and get the rest of the industry to adopt stuff like this. Or we can sell more guns because, you know, obviously they're going to take them away eventually. And so they decided to go down that second path. So on there, kind of thing.
Huh.
Yeah. And so this guy's talking about how, you know, the industry just started to really change around the George W. Bush years, and particularly, you know, with 9/11 in Iraq, and there was a couple small school shootings and, you know, like mall shootings and stuff like that at that time, but nothing like what we have now. But then he was just talking about the statistics, and you know, the number of assault rifles as a proportion of gun ownership is fucking crazy. That is one thing that's actually fucking different than when we were kids. So it's like that's the first gun you get now. Okay, so yeah, so you don't go get your fucking Remington 1022 and plink cans, you know, anymore. You go out there and you arm up with a 223 and a 30-round clip. So, and that's your starter gun. It's weird, man. So I didn't know that.
really?
Well, as a guy who's never really been interested in assault rifles, although someday I do want an AK-47 just because it's really fucking fun to shoot. So it's not cheap to shoot, but
No,
it is
it's
kind of
not.
fun to shoot.
I
So-
would think that. Wow. Okay. So I guess that I was thinking that the first thing that somebody would get is basically some kind of quote unquote hunting rifle,
That's
whatever
what I was thinking.
whatever that manifests
So-
as, or the other thing you would be getting your, what was it, like the Taurus or the
Yeah, you get like a little pistol, a
you know,
9mm
your
home
Glock
defense
19,
pistol, a
whatever
Glock
it was.
19, you
Yeah.
know, something that's kind of like really easy to shoot, really easy to replace, not
Yeah.
terribly expensive to shoot. But no, man, apparently people go right to the assault rifles now. And, you know, the thing is like, yeah, you'd think someone would get a hunting rifle. The amount of hunters has gone way the fuck down
I'd imagine
in terms of gun ownership.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, you know, and he was actually talking about that in some respects. He was like, wait a minute, you know, so like, we have this whole conservation side of the sportsman argument too. It's just
Fair
like,
enough, yeah.
Well, okay, that's fine. You'll all glom onto that until it comes to the point in time where we talk about like fucking safety vests and shit. Okay, because well, you know, if you're a hunter, you got to wear that, and so you better wear that if you're out at the range too and stuff. And he's like, no, wait a minute, we can't do that. You know, it's like, so wait a minute, it's not about gun safety.
Sounds like it never was.
I guess so, man. And so it was, anyway, it was really interesting. It made me kind of reflect on gun ownership in some respects, because we were just talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
Because I definitely grew up in one of those households where guns were like fun. Okay. They, you know, like it was kind of implied that, all right, if someone breaks in the house, it's your job to get out of the house, you know, kind of thing. All right. So more so than anything else, it's like your life isn't worth the fucking TV. And so, you know, if it really comes to that, we got a couple guns. And so if you get cornered in the room, there you go. So, you know, the law's got your back, but you don't like fucking
Come on.
Right. You know, sit there and, you know, cut your phone line. You know?
No, because that would be psychopathy. Yeah,
right, that would be psychopathy. Yeah. Well, like we said the other day, if you hit him at 300 yards, it's you're going to jail. You know?
Well, so, okay.
So yeah, but it was interesting because he really talked about how, like, okay, so terrorism really freaked a lot of fucking people out. Granted, I remember that. Okay. And then you had these shootings. He did not mention the California bank robbers one explicitly, but that one absolutely. You know.
But that was more of an examination of the police than it
was,
because there was nobody was thinking like, well, these people are coming into my house.
Right, yeah. Right. Well, and we're not. This isn't the sheriff. I'm going to round up a posse and kind of
right.
You know. So it was L.A. for crying out loud. You know? So.
Jesus. Yeah. See, the weird thing on that was, all right, so I guess my memory of this may be just kind of like weird on this, right? And not in a bad or, you know, kind of a thing kind of way, right? Was, okay, so yeah, you have your group there that, like you're talking about, guns are kind of fun. It's a hobbyist kind of thing, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then you had the hunters, but yeah, the thing was, as you said, like the black rifles as they call them. That when I asked these dudes, like, yeah, I own one to go shoot cans with. It's like, you never hunt with this because you'd obliterate. What
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right. I'm like, oh, and you wouldn't want to do that. It's like, no. It's like, no. What person is going to shoot at a deer with this, right? It's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, these are designed to mow down lots of people. So, yeah. And that was this guy's point. He was like, so this is the gun that you grab when it's time to roll. So, you know, and it's like, okay, so yeah, you know, that makes perfect sense now that I think about it. I guess I just never thought about it in that context. But you're absolutely right, man. If you're in a house, you're not going to... You're gonna fucking load up your two taped together banana clips of fucking 5.56.
But that's exactly the crazy thing is, like, so
all tacked out, put on your plate carrier and shit. You know, man. So you're gonna grab a shotgun.
Well, that's okay, because you're gonna do one of two things, right? And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but like, so if you're going to be defending your house, which I'm gonna presume isn't you know, basically like the fucking mansion from Resident Evil where you have these big long hallways and shit. It's going to be a place like this where it's like, well, yeah, just you break it down. It's like, so what is my home? It's like, well, it's a series of corners, right? So
right, yeah.
If you're taking an assault rifle through here, that's actually the last thing you'd want because you're moving around angles. So you'd either want, you know, a handgun, right? Or you'd want a shotgun because it's like, all right, well, I just turned the corner and right?
Pepper spray.
Or the other thing is, if you were so inclined and you wanted to go the black rifle route and say, like, okay, well then theoretically I'd need a bullpup kind of assault rifle,
or an Uzi or something,
so I can turn corners, right?
A submachine gun, a machine pistol,
right?
Yeah, but I mean that's not the mentality, all right. And so, you know, it starts to make a little bit more sense. And he calls them couch commandos. He's like, these are people. Like who, you know, for one reason or another, did not actually go over there, or they did go over there and they came back and they didn't really come back, so to speak.
Right.
You know, you know who.
It's never over. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Who, you know, secretly and deep down harbor a deep desire to actually murder their neighbors. So, but as soon as I heard that line, I was like, I think I've heard another guy say that, you know, about I really want the zombie apocalypse to come because I really want to shoot the Joneses across the creek. Yeah. So yeah. It was just like, okay, okay, now I know where you're going with this, and I'm tracking with you because, you know, I see a lot of that. You know, so like, I mean, I've known a lot of people over the years who are gun owners, and they do kind of come in a couple different flavors. You know, I mean, people ask me about guns. It's always like, oh man, I love them. They're so much fun, and I like to do this and I like to do that, and you know, let me tell you about everything that I got. Blah blah blah.
Club.
Yeah, I was in a gunfighter club for crying out loud. You know, kind of thing. And it's one of those things where, you know, I'm one of the few guys who's like that anymore. You know, who grew up. Well, I mean, I know some guys who grew up like in rural America, where yeah, your first gun was a bolt action 5-shot 22. Okay, you went out and you plucked cans or squirrels or birds or something with it.
Those dudes, I guarantee you, were blowing away prairie dogs.
Prairie dogs,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
guarantee it
Yeah,
because
prairie
they're
dogs are
totally
pain in the
hazardous to
ass.
the.
Yeah,
Yeah, they gotta go.
they gotta go.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to vacuum them on the railroad.
But where did the
We had a
vacuum?
truck.
I was gonna say the vacuum. Did it take them into a container with like a spinning blade?
Not that grotesque, but it did shoot them into about a 2-inch plate of iron, so it would
There
kill
you
them.
go.
Yeah, yeah. And you would hear it just thunk,
Yeah.
thunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then
They're a
yeah,
problem.
I know,
Just
man.
seriously. a
So, well,
problem.
no,
Shit.
when I was in the railroad, man, they were all over the yard, and so yeah, we had to clean them out every. I think it was twice a year. So
Twice, yeah, and my understanding is that anybody that had horses,
oh
these
yeah,
things are the worst possible.
oh
thing
yeah,
to do.
you would kill your horse, man. Yeah,
Yeah, because
so
they
if
just got
not
in a
you,
fucking
yeah.
hole, and that's gonna break the
Off
leg.
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
So, yeah.
so many guys told me about plunking. prairie
Yeah, so
dogs.
I've known guys like that. So, but then like there's a lot of like, yeah, split screen Nintendo couch surfing guys out there
Those
who,
are the guys I knew.
yeah, I know, I knew them too, and some of them really did think that PPKs were really fucking cool. So, and then eventually it got to the point in time where it was like, oh, actually, you know what, I'm going to get an AR-15. So with 4 rail attachments on it, and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of clips, and it was like, what do you need that for? So, well, I need it for home defense. No, you don't. You just think it's fucking cool. So
Say that.
Say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least then you're being straight up with me, man. So, but no, it turns into this thing where you get sucked in that rabbit hole. Now you're stocking up, 2,500 rounds of 223 that you got to cycle out every 5 years because it's got marked shelf life on it. And yeah, you're head over heels. You're buying a plate carrier. You're buying fucking, like fucking. Why do you need a tack light on that thing? I mean, did your light switch stop working? So I mean, unless you're gonna chase somebody down through a swamp, you don't really need this.
Well, and what's funny too is you take the exact people that you're talking about, right, and the people that are buying these. The thing I have to turn around and say is like, bro, your neighborhood is pretty nice.
Your neighborhood's really nice.
It's like I'm not picking again. The whole thing about this is like, look, I can't really hold these people in a bad place because I'm like, ultimately, what you're doing is collecting, right? Ultimately,
Sure,
what you're
yeah.
doing is collecting because when I break it down and say like, look, anything that people really collect in general is worthless. I don't mean that in a
yeah, no,
in a derogatory
yeah.
way, but I mean there's just like, all right, so
It holds meaning for you.
exactly. And so if there's a part of you that says like, well, these things are fun, right? But I don't want to just sit there and be like a goofball and be like, oh, this is great. It's like, no, I have to have this kind of, it fulfills some kind of like inherent, I don't want to say fantasy, but something about
yeah.
it is like it fills a fun hole for them, but they can't just say that, right?
Yeah.
They have to crouch it in this sort of like,
Right. Well,
thing.
and I mean that's what makes this one dangerous is because you can get it's really closely adjacent to like
Because, yeah,
patriotism.
my
and-
baseball cards won't ever kill anybody. Yeah.
Well, not even that's that. It's just like me collecting baseball cards doesn't like advertise to everybody else in the neighborhood how much I love America.
Or hate it.
or how much
Or
you
hate it.
don't. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
One of those two things. Yeah.
So,
There's
yeah.
some sort of Patrick. We have an ammunition shortage in this country.
Do we still?
I thought so.
I haven't had a problem getting it lately. I don't know if
Okay.
it's still a thing. I know it's expensive, so.
Well, yeah,
but I think you can get it. So.
But that's the thing. Yeah, you tell me it
That was
always
2020,
that,
man.
It was always that hard to get.
No.
Right. That's
Oh
what
God,
I'm
no.
saying.
Oh shit,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
You used to be able to order fucking buckets of it from Cabela's. So
That's what I'm saying here. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 2020 and COVID happens, and BLM, and fucking cancer. Or, I mean, defund the police, and like he was just looking at the sales statistics. That stat that everybody likes to show out there. There's more guns in America than there are people. That was not true just a few years ago. I didn't realize that, man. So but. It's funny. It's just it's a stand-in proxy for like how you feel about like so many other things, and the interesting thing about this guy who's in this podcast, he was talking about how that was a strategy. So he was like, that's actually a marketing strategy. And I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, that's pretty fucking clever strategy. So, if you think about it, you really do get to the point in time. It's like, why do you have 4 smoke detectors in your house? You only need 1, So,
all right.
Yeah, you really only need 1. Yeah. So, but you're playing off of fear. So it's the exact same thing. It's like the same thing with your Best Buy warranties and shit. Playing off fear. Well, you could be out if you don't think ahead right now. And that's kind of the same thing with guns in some respect too. Well, if you don't get it now, them Democrats.
I'm going to point this out to you. Look, I'm not going to allay the fears on that. Yes, because there is a wing of that party that is vocal that really does want to do that kind of shit. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, they can go fuck themselves because...
yeah, but I mean, that's kind of like... I don't know, man. It's so far out of the realm of possibility that you just can't take it seriously. So, I mean...
Okay, so can I realistically see it happen? No, not really. Not on any trajectory that I see. As I've said, and I will continue to say this, if there were going to be changes, it would have been after Sandy Hook. Didn't happen. So at this point, forget it, right?
Yeah.
The thing that kind of bothers me, and this is where, again, this is one of the things where... Patrick, I hate to bring Twitter into this, but I'm going to, all right?
I heard you got a new CEO.
Yes, which is very interesting. The thing about Twitter is, like, if you say certain things, right, you're going to get an insult back that's going to say, oh, conservative people think this, or liberal people think this, right? And the thing is, they take the statement and presume your standpoint, right? And the funny thing is, like, I always like to come back, I'm like, what the fuck makes you think I'm one of them? Right?
Yeah.
Because
it's a good retort.
Because the ultimate, thing on this here is, I don't like, this is not horseshoe theory, it's just the same tactic where both sides of the aisle are going to sit there and use this like, all right, so the gun restriction side is going to be playing on that fear angle. The gun protection side is going to be playing on that fear angle, right? Both ends. They're using the same tactic and giving people the worst reasons, okay, to endorse or deny the issue.
Yeah, you never give people reasons to be brave anymore. So, it's just like, okay, so there's terrorists. Fucking bring them on. All right? So,
well, I don't
got it. All right? So, same thing. It's like, a Democrat's going to take your gun. It's like, I like to see you try.
But they have to put that threat out there. And in order to make this threat work, they have to basically present the situation as worse than it is.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, in order to get people to basically endorse and purchase weapons, you have to make the situation look worse than it actually is.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Because when it comes down to it, like you said, there are more guns than there are people. Okay?
Sure, yeah.
Well, then by the math, I'd have to look at it and say, well, what is the proportionate amount of gun violence? It's the same.
It's tiny.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's where it's coming down to. I'm like, all right, because people should be getting blown away on the regular, right? And if you ask some people...
It'd be like fucking Escape from New York.
It is. Because the way that you fucking present this stuff, it's like, oh, well, evidently in America, there are just duels going on in the street on a regular basis.
That's Buster Scruggs every day, baby.
Yeah. I am so sorry. I ran my car into yours.
Right.
We have to go settle this in the parking lot. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right?
With duels.
And this is the benefit that I have with this, Patrick, is being able to ask people from different countries and different cultures, what do you think about this?
Oh, they think
what
it's
have you
nuts,
heard?
man. So, yeah.
Like, well, my understanding is that you can't walk 15 feet in America without somebody getting shot.
Yeah.
Like, you think that, huh?
Yeah, you
Why?
think that. Why?
And that's the thing, is both sides are essentially presenting this. And I'd like to...
I've had my German students say that. So, in fact, there was one time I met a bunch of them up in the mountains, so for a conference. And there were open carry guys at the bar. So, and they were just like, oh my God. And I was like, guys, you've been in this country for what, 6 months? They're like, well, yeah. And it's like, this is the first time you've seen that? And then they started thinking about that and like, wait a minute. Yeah.
I'd like to share...
You're not supposed to do that in a bar, though, to be fair. I don't know if the rules are different up in Gunnison, but I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure. Yes, I would like to share with you these are the kind of things that you get. I'd like to share with you something I was reported for.
Oh, did you get busted by the Twitterati?
Well, no. The thing is, under German law, they have to provide notice to users who are reported by
Oh, that's
people
right. Yeah.
from Germany, right? So a German reported me via the Network Enforcement Act reporting flow.
I don't know what that is.
I didn't either, but
Yeah.
if people report this, German Twitter has to tell you what you were reported for. Okay? Now, and I quote, "We have received a complaint for the following content from your account, blah, 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 redacted." Okay? Tweet text. "Being white is more of a philosophy, I guess. With such controversial pillars as 1. Taking things without paying is bad. 2. Prison is awful and I'll do whatever it takes to stay out. 3. I can shoehorn avocado into anything." So, that was reported by a German as some kind of like hate speech.
They must not like avocados, man.
I just want you to understand this. The babies that I deal with, right?
Well, you're definitely in the
they went crying to the fucking Twitter cops.
Yeah, you definitely you live in the animal farm, man. So
that is not real life.
No, of course not, man. So like I don't even think I don't know, man. So if someone's so far up their own ass at that point in time that becomes like a reportable offense and they actually take that seriously, man. It's like, okay, what's the whole thing? Go touch grass or, just put the goddamn phone down for, like just give it a day, man.
Log out.
A day. Just give me one day.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
How is cyberbullying a thing? Just close your eyes or log out.
Log out. Yeah. Get out of here, man. So, it's so voluntary, but it seems so essential for so many things. And I gotta tell you, man, like my weekly news scrubs are great. So, because like it really does take something to punch through, in order to actually hit that.
Yeah.
And my blood pressure is pretty low when it comes to most news anyway.
Yeah.
So, but like, so I did have to turn the Twitter back on. I told you this after
because they would have.
And God damn it, if they didn't push through a fucking 1,000 push notifications within the first day.
You have got to turn them
I had to turn those off. They were so offensive. So it was like people signing me up for cat shit. I was like, how the fuck do you know I have a cat? So it was like, oh, well, you definitely want it from the CSFD. I was like, I do not. So if my house is on fire, I'll call you. So, so that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Kind of thing. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. But if it's so essential to somebody's day, all right, that they're actually pulling down a lot of their news from that, that's how they keep in touch with their friends. That's where they make their friends, and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I guess I can see how you get wrapped up that far, but I would encourage you, you need to find a local bar, you need to find a gym, you need to, I don't know, call your mom. So, something, because that's just, come on, man. Like, all right, so I've got a YouTube channel. I got subscribers on there. I like to fuck with them every now and then. They like to fuck with me. It's fine. They're not my friends. Okay? Right. You're my friend, Jeff.
Yeah. And you wouldn't even let me participate.
No. It's not for you. You told me the same thing about your Twitter feed. I was like, okay, it's yours, man. It's not mine. So I'm not going to go look up your shit, man.
No, it wasn't. I can't have you fuck this up, man.
Right, yeah. No, I'm not going to dox you, but,
No, it wasn't about doxing. It was like, because I don't want you to actually believe that I believe this.
I know you don't believe this shit, man.
Right.
So, no.
In fact, the whole impetus of that thing, where that came from, is that was responding to a tweet where basically some dumb bitch was basically saying, well, like being white isn't a race, and that's why I said like, oh, well, then it's a series of guidelines.
Right. Yeah. So it's a way of being.
It's a series of guidelines that I wrote to be inflammatory to get somebody to say, oh, so you think this about these people? And I would say, like, when did I say that?
Yeah.
Show me in this where I said that. Like, right, I always think of a friend of ours who worked at a pizza place, and when he would be angry, when somebody said absolutely no fucking anchovies on this, he would pour the juice on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And come back and say, like, show me an anchovy.
Show me an anchovy, yeah.
Right? And it's like, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Just like the same thing. When I tried to go in there and fucking BLM up your fucking, YouTube channel, you're like, I'm not having this.
I'm not having this. You're blocked.
You're banned. Yeah, so like, oh man, I can't have you actually knowing me and seeing this.
No,
like,
man, I don't want to, man. It's not that like I wouldn't be curious or anything. It's just I couldn't help myself. And it was like, well, Jeff's not that much for now.
Well, at that point, it's either like, okay, we're either doing this, we keep it separate, or if you see me do this, you're like, we're in this together. And I don't.
No, I can't do that, man.
You don't have that in you.
No, I don't have that in me. So I do not have. So first of all, I'm not that quick of a thinker. It takes me a long time to think of a decent retort for those things, So that's why I like YouTube comments, because I can think about it for a little bit. I can throw it into drafts, and then I can come back and, I'm not that fast on my feet. So, and then the second thing is like the few times that I have engaged with people on YouTube or even like some of the forums that I was on before, it never works out. It never, yeah, it just...
It's all it needs.
It's not going to work out. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're from that family. My family does not like your family. So I mean, yeah, it could work in theory, but this thing is just destined for tragedy, and we're gonna kill our friends while we're at it. So it's just not gonna work out. And so, it's because like every Discord server. I mean, I'm not even on Discord anymore. I had people ask me that like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I was like, fuck this place. This place is fucking trash.
Yeah.
So it is just complete and utter garbage. And there's nothing to be done. There's nothing good to be, there's no good to be had here. And even the most innocuous model train driven fucking forums that I've been a part of eventually turned into a fist fight. And it was over stupid model train bullshit. It wasn't even over like 2016 Russian collusion. It was over like, oh, well, I like these and these are better than yours, so I'm better than you. It was like,
and it's and what happens is those guys get in the thing because there's a I would say a good 85 to 90% of other people in that forum would be like, well, I like both of them. I just like this one a little bit better, but that one's pretty cool too.
Right.
In fact, I kind of like those ones about it. Right. Yeah. But that's not what's going to happen. The 10% of guys that are like, I hope you understand that HO burned down my house.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And
then let alone, so on the first train forum that I was on, I made a big mistake by actually saying that I worked for a railroad. And so I will never do that again. So
how did that come back on you?
It's so like people like in the beginning, it was great. They were asking me all these questions and stuff, how's this work and stuff like that. It took maybe like 3 to 6 months before people were like, you didn't fucking work on a railroad. Otherwise you would have said this, this, and this. And I was like, I didn't work on that one. I was like, well, that's what a guy who didn't work on a railroad would say. And it's like, fuck you.
You're like,
I was like, okay, I was doing this because I thought I was helping. And then so the next one that I got onto, I didn't even do that. I was like, nope, not going to say nothing about anything, not going to jump in there and be that guy like, oh, former railroader here. Let me tell you what exactly that signal means, kind of thing. Not going to do that. So what I would do instead was I would go to the book, find the link and say, hey, I found this. You should read this. Okay. That was helpful. That blew up in my face. Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's not the one that I was looking for. You don't know what you're talking about. I was like, that's the only one that exists, but okay. Whatever. Yeah, there's not two types of these, kind of thing. Yeah, but anyway.
Oh, okay, Patrick.
So that one melted down.
I have to bring up something that you mentioned on this,
okay,
right? Because after that derailment in Ohio, right,
oh God,
you told me, it's like, okay, well, I looked at this is the report that comes out. It's like the full report's going to come out earlier, but you're like, this is the abstract of it, and it's going to have all the details, right? And you showed it to me, right? And I looked it up and I'm like, holy shit, this is exactly what it's like. This is the kind of thing that a guy who's done with derailments has seen, right? So, in some such cases where people were talking about this.
Oh God, did you go use that on the Twitter?
okay, so look at this,
Yeah.
right? And it's so funny because yeah, it's not that they want to read this. They're gonna say like, "What are you, a fucking doctor of railroads now?"
You're a railroad doctor? Yeah, I know, man. So
It's like, no, bitch. It's like this is like, you know what? And you pull them up and you say like, all right,
just want to be mad, bro.
no, and that's the thing is Patrick. The thing that I find about engagement is like, all right. So the whole thing, I'm going to tell you, this is not a trick or anything. So it's like, all right. So what you do is you take a couple of like hot topic, basically like lightning rod type of accounts.
Okay.
Right. And if you're going to be a reply guy that's going to start some shit, this is what you do. You look for some lightning rod accounts.
Reply guy, I like that.
I'm not in the position yet where I can actually throw out and like start the shit.
Okay.
Right? But you go out there under these lightning rod accounts, and those are the ones that you turn on the notifications for.
Okay.
Right? Because what you want is you want to be one of the first. You want to be like comment number 1 or 2.
Okay.
Right? So this is where the thinking fast thing has to come in.
Yeah, I can't
right?
do that.
Yeah. Okay. So when that comes out, you want to jump in there quickly, right? Because that's going to be like your light, because everybody's going to see it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Everybody's going to see it, and you get a lot of people on your side, or you're going to get a lot of people pissed at you, right? Totally fine.
So we fire on Fort Sumter right away. Yeah, got
it.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, if people throw shit at you, right? That's where I used to think where it's like, all right, I'm going to throw it out there with a dumb, like, I don't want to say like unintelligible, but like clearly not capitalized. Punctuation is completely arbitrary, right? Because you don't want to tip your hand, and you sit there and wait for somebody to come out there. And my whole thing was to try and lure out fake intellectuals, right? Because as soon as you tip your hand, that you are a fake intellectual, I'm going to dive on you, right? So that was my pleasure, was basically finding people that were as smart as the Wikipedia abstract and going after them.
Right.
Because I don't want to just target stupid people, right? That's where, like, clause number 2 is if I'd get in an argument with somebody and I'd be like, you have to come clean right now. It's like, you have to.
If you're serious, yeah.
It's like, no, you have to divulge right now, right? You have to divulge whether you actually believe this. Are you trolling or are you retarded? Right? And you have to come clean. Because if you're actually, I don't pick on the handicapped.
Right, yeah.
But if you're trolling, I'm not going to waste my time.
Right. Or yours. Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, you have to look and see, like, if somebody like throws something after you, you have to decide whether to let it go or go after it. You just pop and you say, all right, this is an account that's like a year old and has 12 followers. Right.
Right.
I'm like, well, then this is a person who's going to just be wasting your time.
Yeah.
Right. Because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So you have to let it pass. So you have to find accounts. If you're going to start a fight, you have to
have
see
a
somebody
couple
that's
thousand. Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, this person is worth having a fight with.
Right.
Why? Because that means every time they tweet, their crowd sees the whole thing. My crowd sees the whole thing.
Got it.
And you start a little backyard brawl by doing that.
Right. Yeah. Shirts and skins. Yeah.
That's the fun part. Because you don't want to just have a gang up.
Yeah, okay, I can see the fun in it, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see the fun in it. I mean, the thing that like gets me a little frustrated about it is when they start citing it chapter and verse like it's fact. And it's like, actually, you guys are really fucking up this conversation because now I see more articles on your Twitter fight than I do on the actual thing that happened. I'd like to know what happened. So, I get a little upset. That's what, like, it's taken me forever to find a few sources on the Ukraine thing that actually will do deep dives on shit. It give me, like, straight up answers on shit. It's taking forever. So, because that's exactly what happens in all those cases. Yeah. So, and it's just, that part gets me a little frustrated, man. And it's the same thing with forums. It's like, look, guys, I just came here to figure out what kind of glue I should use for this. Okay?
Right.
Can you guys help me out with that? And then blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, obviously not. So same thing with Discord server. I just need to know what order to install these mods in. I'm sorry, I'm too stupid to be able to read this thing because you didn't write it very well, but I didn't say that. Kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, just dogpile on you. Why don't you fucking read it? It's posted right there, blah, blah. Steam forums are just fucking bad.
Like I said, yeah, because
with that shit.
You wouldn't go there unless the Steam forum was fucking unintelligible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like, come on, guys. I just need some help. And then every now and then you do find someone who's just genuinely helpful. The problem is, if you stick around there and you try and be helpful to other people, they fucking come for you eventually. They will come for you and they will burn your shit down, man. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Don't be helpful online. So they will come for you next.
My favorite comment. Okay, look, this is something that I've had to say a couple of times.
Okay.
Right? But my God, it's been a weird thing. It's fun to actually type this every now and then, and like with people that I've feuded with, right? Because again, I'm not actually upset, right?
Yeah.
But every now and then the shit gets like a little bit personal, right? All right, this is going in a weird direction, and somebody else makes a good point or whatever, and it comes to like a logical, like actual conclusion, right? One of the most fun things I get to type every now and then is like, what the fuck are you doing being so reasonable?
Right, that's a good
Right?
one. Yeah.
And they're like, what?
What?
Like, it's like, I thought you came here to fight. Like, what are you doing? Actually, it's like, did you actually take something from me and I took something from you?
Right.
It's like, are we gonna hug it out, bro?
We're gonna hug it out, bro?
And there are people in the comments that go like, what the fuck just happened?
We were just all bottles and chains, boss. You know?
And suddenly it's like the end of fucking Volcano, where it's like everybody's skin looks the same.
Yeah. So Heathcliff walks up and shakes Spike's hand. You know? Says, "You can have this trash can."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Go ahead and shut it now, please.
All right. Hitting the button.
Yeah, okay.
Oh wait, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Now hitting the button.
Oh,
all of them, right?
No. I don't make endorsements very often, but I will recommend the Bug Assault insect hunting shotgun. $45 has made such a difference in my quality of life with flying vermin.
I might have to try it. All right, hitting the button.
All right, thank you.